Oh, that was loud. Yeah, that was. Whoa, how you doing? How you doing, brother? I hope. Yeah. Well, I was not alone. I was not by myself. I had my good friend Phil, as everybody knows Phil on the channel. Phil did join me for the first portion of All In. We sat down and we watched All In together. We were joined by numerous amounts of people throughout the day, so that was very fun. It was very exciting. We had a great time. We cracked a lot of jokes. The show itself, I thought, was amazing. And then following after, I went live for a couple minutes for the ending of Saturday night's main event alongside my wonderful girlfriend. She joined me for that. And yeah, man, it was a really good time. I thought the weekend itself delivered in numerous ways, and I can imagine we'll get into it further. But overall, dude, just a pitch perfect weekend. The with and I want to preface this with a small amount of bad news that came out. The bad news always sucks, but there is a lot to good to talk about too. Hmm. Yeah, so I think what people are implying at and what they're what they're going to is she was recently like doing like a couple podcast interview type things. I know I seen a clip of like her talking about how John Cena won, and she talked about like how could you not be mad? Or she was asked if like she was mad, and she was like, how could you be mad? Like it's John Cena, and like she talked about like how John answered something along the lines of like, oh, I want the next person to follow me. And he didn't say boy or girl, he just said person. So how awesome would it be if Charlotte ended up breaking his record? Like, it was just really cool hearing her kind of talk in that light and just talk about her dad and that record, regardless of feelings of Ric Flair. um, but obviously, this weekend, we had her and Alexa Bliss in a tag team match for the women's tag championships. And I think the perception around Charlotte when she's not in the title picture, you start to appreciate her a little more because you're not for, yeah, that you're not force fed. When Charlotte is not force fed down to us, is that, yeah, Oh, the perception of her.
No, no, no. Say it again. When Charlotte Flair is not in the title picture.
When Charlotte Flair is not in the title picture.
Continue.
When Charlotte Flair is not in the title picture, I think the perception of her, she's perceived different. She's not being shoved down our throats, and I think the pairing of Alexa Bliss helps a lot in many ways that maybe people don't fully understand. Because at first everybody was like, "Oh, you want to see Charlotte Flair in the Wyatt Six, and you want her to do this, and you want her to do that." Um, when in reality, this pairing between her and Charlotte is great, and you know, she doesn't always have to be the main star, and sometimes she can be that just side role, and I think you start to enjoy everything that she does just a tad bit more, because the truth is Charlotte's not going to be around forever, you know what I'm saying? And eventually she is going to turn into what we view John Cena as today, and that's, you forget about all the things that maybe happened before and you just start to appreciate the work, no different than Roman Reigns, you know. And I think that's kind of the sense and the feeling that we're stepping into right now with Charlotte Flair, is that you're just going to start appreciating every little thing that she does as long as it's happening naturally.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say, because you hit it right on the head, when Charlotte Flair is not in the title picture, she is actually so much more likable.
Yes.
When she is not shoved down our throats, Charlotte has undergone the same thing as Roman Reigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Constantly down everybody's throats. And now Alexa Bliss has made Charlotte so likable. That was one of my key takeaways from that tag team match. And it actually got to the point where I was like, okay, what we've seen before this match was cool, but now after this match, I actually really want to see them dive further and further into Alexa and Charlotte as a tag team.
Yeah, so do I, and I think it's just a naturally accidental good pairing. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen, but naturally they move well together, because obviously people who saw it, they were like, "Oh, it's just going to be a feud between Alexa and Charlotte." Nobody thought that the pairing would actually happen the way that it has. Um, and the fact that it has moved in the direction that it has only made it more exciting. I think Charlotte in particular here is just one of the she just doesn't fit with Alexa, and Alexa doesn't fit with her. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, like I enjoy this. Like, I don't hate this. I don't hate Charlotte, and obviously neither does the crowd, because my word, we heard the reaction that she got. We heard the chants that she got. I don't know. As a human being, you enjoy things like that, because I think Ashley, the person, and not Charlotte, is probably a great person. You know what I mean? So it's very easy to, when you see things like this, just enjoy it for them. You know what I mean? She's not going to be around forever, and one day you are going to be like, man, like I remember when Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the moment that we're getting to right now, is just appreciating the work.
I definitely agree with that. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat to kick us off today. Our super chat goal is active. If you guys want to support me or Billy, Billy's also live on his channel. I want to give a shout out to Phil as well, because Phil has extended his membership as a pro member for 12 months. Welcome to the 1 year club, brother. He says it's refreshing seeing Flair in a different light. And it is, and that's why I really love the idea of kicking off the show talking about Charlotte, because one of the big things about wrestling shows when we're watching, there's so much that happens. I love the idea of being able to watch a show and being able to get excited about the future of something.
Yeah.
This is a common trend when I do live streams. And so I know a lot of people will see the title of this live stream, and they're going to be so outraged, because they're like, how can you like Evolution more? But Evolution led me to be more excited about what is to come than any other show this weekend. More than NXT Great American Bash, more than Saturday Night's Main Event, and more than All In. That doesn't mean I'm derailing All In. And I kind of want to turn our attention to All In for a little bit, and then of course to make sure my words are very, very clear here because I have the tendency to see some people just don't actually listen. I thought All In was a very enjoyable show.
Mm-hmm.
I thought All In executed all of the correct creative decisions. 1,000,000%. No doubt about it. In fact, I remember telling you on a live stream, if Hangman doesn't win, I'm not talking AEW anymore on a live stream.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
We did. So I got the results I wanted to see. All In was very good. All In was very long. There were things on All In's card that honestly I felt like could have been off of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Personally speaking. Everything that happened on Evolution needed to be on Evolution.
Yes.
That's why I've come to the decision that Evolution was a better pay-per-view. Looking at All In the grand scheme of things, Tony Khan in the last 4 months is starting to gain fans' trust back. And it was
Yes.
actually so much easier for Tony Khan to fucking ruin it all, but instead he didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He did the right stuff. Between Darby and Bryan, right? This is what I said. It's WrestleMania 40 main event all over again. It's going to happen. But it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I'm not a guy who loves blood. I loved it. That match needed it. We needed the callback to the first Texas Death Match between Hangman and Moxley. There was a lot of great little things throughout the night. When it comes to the future of what I'm about to be watching, I have to say the women's division did enough for me to get excited across multiple stories. Naomi becoming world women's champion by surprisingly cashing in. Of course, we're looking at Rhea Ripley possibly be turning heel at some point. They have some time.
He had a little crash out.
Yeah, Jade Cargill having her best match ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some intrigue there because of Bianca Belair and Naomi and Jade, and obviously now Naomi's going to Raw, or maybe she's staying on SmackDown and bringing that belt to SmackDown. We don't know. There was a lot of things. Stephanie Bakir winning the Battle Royal, Lash Legend becoming the runner-up, right?
Yeah.
There was just a lot of good things on Evolution where every single individual there, I'm excited to see what's next. For All In, I don't feel like it served that same exact purpose, which is okay. They did enough. They did a really, really good job. But there are parts of All In where I was like, okay, we could have done without that. You know what I mean?
For yeah.
Look at All In because you did a watch along.
Yeah.
Take me through your overall consensus of what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like, and let's talk about it.
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Now I will say in some regards, in some ways, I disagree. But I will start off with my agreeance here, and my agreeance is number one, it was a very long pay-per-view. I think the actual number is that it surpassed the length of WrestleMania 35, making it the longest like pay-per-view in history, wrestling history. That is, I'm not sure about anything else. So obviously that number one is somewhat of a turnoff. Another problem that I had with it was the fact that it bled into other things. It bled into Saturday night's main event, and we actually came on here and we talked about how that could be a horrible idea for AEW is if they choose to go the length and cut into Saturday night's main event, because what you're doing is you're taking watching experiences away from people. Now, I'm not saying that they have to do it on based on the people or anything like that, but as a viewer and as a watcher, it does make it a tad bit difficult to fully enjoy something when I'm a fan of both, so I'm going to have to pick and choose in this moment what I want to watch. And granted, it's not AEW's fault. At the end of the day, AEW, they in this regard had that weekend kind of already slated. WWE made the decision to go out and do what WWE did, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I still had to miss out on a couple things. Like I missed the first match between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, and then I missed the Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa match. I wasn't able to fully dive into that match. And obviously, like Jacob Fatu and everything like that came back. And that I wasn't a fan of. When it came down to the matches of All In and it came down to the structure of All In, I did contrary to disbelief, think that it was paced very well for the number of matches that were on there and how the matches were flowing. I think the women, Mercedes Moné and Tony Storm, like they did a stellar job. But there were obviously some things that I felt like could have just been a dynamite match, like the Ops and the Death Riders. I don't think that was a necessity to have on your card just for the sake of having it. I understand why you did it, but it didn't feel like it was mandatory to be on the card. Now, when it comes down to the disagreements, I want to talk about feeling, right? Evolution last night was outstanding, right? Evolution, I think, delivered across numerous boards that it needed to. When it comes down to me in disagreeing with you, it has everything to do with feeling, because that feeling of having Hangman win that championship at the end of that show, and granted, this is just one argument and one talking point that I'm talking about here. When it came down to feeling, it reminded me of WrestleMania 40. And if you're going to tell me that WrestleMania 40 was worse than Evolution, I would solely disagree with you. And I think that is the same belief here. AEW capitalized on something that needed to happen, and they did it in a way that, I mean, I about teared up, seeing Swerve Strickland, Hangman, the chain, and all of these things. So I understand that everything that I'm saying is very what's the word that I'm looking for? It's very objective. Thank you. Those things are objective, but I really feel in my heart of hearts that with the display of Hangman at the end with that championship, it genuinely felt like WrestleMania 40. And really badly, AEW needed a moment to capture something like that. And I don't want to take away from AEW in any stretch, because, dude, what I witnessed on Saturday was beautiful. And I think Phil said it in the chat a moment ago. He said Tony read the room and he delivered. And that's exactly what he did in my eyes. Tony read the room and he delivered.
And that's why I'm not critical to AEW all in. Like, I need that discussion because I think people want to run off and go, it's a common thing that happens. It's like I was reading my TikTok and it's like, you thought Evolution was better because you hate AEW. And it's like, motherfucker, I've been singing the praises of AEW for the last 3 months. Not everything's catered to me, but this is a way better product than it was throughout like the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
And what really happened was this was a big fucking test for Tony Khan. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Let me be perfectly clear. Tony Khan was being tested this weekend. If Tony Khan did not listen, if he did not deliver the right moves, I promise you guys, this company would have gone to shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is the result of actually looking at it, not on the scale of the IWC and not on the scale of the consumers, but just looking at it from your own perspective and knowing the difference between right booking and wrong booking. Athena winning the Casino Gauntlet is the right choice. Why? She has fucking killed it in Ring of Honor.
Yep.
And you need to do something with her on the main roster, and you're not. So you have Mercedes lose to Tony. Great match. Awesome match between the two. Tony wins, which is nice because it's like, I didn't expect them to go that route. And now you have a situation where Athena is next up.
For sure.
Away from Ring of Honor. Oh my God, Tony Khan finally fucking it clicked. She's gonna win the Casino Gauntlet in Texas. Great reaction. And now we have a major program probably going for All Out, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, Tony Khan did read the room correctly. Tony Khan did the right thing. And I cannot criticize that. I can't. This is the first time in years where I felt like AEW actually feels like what AEW is all about.
It was a revolution.
Yeah, do I think it was better than Evolution though? No, I don't. But it's not because it was bad. It was just Evolution, especially the quality. Let me be clear. This is like a weird thing, but
Mm-hmm.
paced incredibly well.
Yeah.
It also exposed the
For sure.
I have been a very big fan of 5-match pay-per-views for a very long time.
But 7 works.
Evolution proved that you can do 7, and you can do it in a way where it is paced incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah, so we shouldn't be having people, especially in important stories. I'm sorry to cut you off, but in important stories, that should not be missing a PLE. You know, that I think that showed that. This week, because WWE obviously has the time with Peacock or Netflix or whoever. They have the time and they can make the time to do it. They just sometimes choose not to. Now, if you're starting a PLE, say for instance at 7 p.m. and you go till 10, I'm not mad at you for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. Just give me everything that I want and give it to me in a way that I can digest comfortably. I'm cool with that. If you're asking for 3 hours of my time on a Saturday night, and you're asking me from 7 to 10 or on a Sunday night, whatever, I'm fine with that. If I am enjoying everything that is going on your TV, in your TV product, then I am completely okay. So yeah, this definitely evolution. It definitely showed that you can get away with more matches than just five, especially being on the main roster. You know what I mean? If you want to stick to that with maybe per se like the NXT roster, cool, understandable. You know what I mean? But the main roster, I mean, I remember when he first started, it was kind of like seven, eight. You know what I mean? And then just immediately dipped it to five. Um. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Definitely more to talk about. Toledo Channel dropped a couple more super chats. He dropped another one for 100 bits. He said, when Hangman dropped the title, things took a downturn for AEW. With the title vacant for a long time, much less influence, hope it delivers. Well, this is why I like the fact that they gave it to AEW. Who won the men's casino gauntlet?
MJF.
MJF.
Yep.
And let's just be pretty real about this. Like, now that Hangman Page is champion and MJF won the casino gauntlet, now it's starting to feel AEW starting to feel like the AEW we love again. And I just want to be really clear about this because I feel like AEW in the last few months has slowly gotten to that point. Tony Khan made all of the right booking decisions at All In to steer us into the right direction. So that is why I'm excited for AEW in 2025 and going into 2026. But it starts with the fact that, Hangman's champion. MJF has something in the works, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a very interesting dynamic with Will Ospreay and Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Jay White will return. Okay, let's get back to what AEW was founded on. And a lot of people who don't want to admit this need to understand they really did steer into the wrong direction.
They definitely did.
Yeah, with Jon Moxley no longer holding the belt, this feels like a breath of fresh air for the company. And now, how can you not get excited? Like, how do you not get excited? I'm excited. I'm geeked for it. It feels like finally they're back on track. So, yeah, it's just you have to make the right decisions. You have to read the room,
Mm-hmm.
but more importantly, you have to know when things aren't working in your favor. And no matter how often Tony Khan will sit there and be like, AEW is the best, Tony Khan very much knew something wasn't working because he saw a dramatic shift in all of the creative in the last 3 to 4 months
I
leading up to All In, and that's why All In actually delivered.
So I do want to come on here and say I'm not sure if it's true, and maybe you can elaborate for me. But I did see a couple things on X, Twitter, whatever, floating around of Tony Khan in the media scrum saying that these weren't the original plans. And I think he actually came out and said it. Again, I'm not sure how true it is. I didn't actually watch the video, but it was a video. So if that is the case, then it just kind of proves that if you listen to your audience, sometimes it can work out in your favor. You know. Um, okay. Okay.
Too much going on with the weekend and stuff, so it's very difficult. But as far as that goes, I mean, it doesn't matter if they were the original plans or not.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. You made the right decision.
Yes.
This would have actually, to be honest with you, the Death Rider thing was so bad where all of this terrible storytelling could have been pushed aside had they just called an audible before. Tony Khan made that mistake of not calling in a public,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay. You have that big moment. It's done with. Now we can move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Shout out to Toledo Channel for that super chat. I feel like I might be missing one from Toledo Channel, so let me just double check. Doug Bain also became a member for 10 months. Roman Reed says all bizarre but nothing memorable happened. There was definitely some things that were memorable. I know a lot of people are talking about Tony Storm eating, or Mercedes Moné eating Tony Storm, so I guess that was a talking point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
giving shit. I thought Great American Bash was good. It did what it was supposed to do. Cool. Not really a big talking point on the live stream because I don't feel like they really gave a lot of big talking points.
Besides the Ricky and Ethan thing, I mean, there was none. To me, at least.
We will get to that. I promise. Darth Bane. He dropped a comment on my video yesterday. I do want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was like the big talking point out of that show. Saturday night's main event was solid. Like it was very good stuff, good booking. Gunther and Goldberg actually surprised the hell out of people.
Me too.
I have no complaints about Saturday night's main event. Honest to God, I really don't. Good show, but was it necessary to be on the same weekend as All In? No, but that's what WWE is going to do anyways. But did I enjoy watching it? I did. Did I enjoy watching All In? I did. Did I enjoy watching the shows? I did. And that was one of the things I really just wanted to emphasize on social media this weekend. Fuck the tribalism, bro. Fuck. I'm so tired of people pointing fingers and being like, you hate AEW. Like, no, bro. I just hate when AEW's ass. Guess who else I hate? When wrestling is ass in general. And I felt like All In, Great American Bash, and Evolution, they all delivered what they were supposed to. Good content. And you know the funny thing is, Billy, before I even let you speak, I just want
Yeah.
to say this so fucking bad because it grinds my gears. WWE counter programmed AEW. AEW sold a lot of tickets. WWE sold a lot of tickets. Both of them were a huge success for both companies. Congratulations to both companies. Keep fucking counter programming each other. You know, honest to God, keep fucking doing it. Because you know what it does? It forces these companies to do the damn right thing.
Mm-hmm.
It forces them. Let's just say, for example, Tony Khan didn't have plans to give the belt to Hangman Page, and he was going to give it to Darby Allin. If he was not competing with WWE this weekend, I guarantee you it's a very good chance that maybe Darby was in the Casino Gauntlet, cashes in,
Mm-hmm.
and out with the belt. That's a very big possibility. But maybe WWE counter programming Tony Khan makes him think just a little bit harder of what these reactions might be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do the right thing.
Yep.
Therefore, that's why I'm actually so excited. You know, I complained about it last week on Monday, and I said, "Fuck, bro, it's too much wrestling. I'm feeling burnt out. This
For
is
sure.
drag."
For sure.
Both of these companies came through and came correct, and I said, that is a great feeling. It reinvigorated everything for wrestling fans, and we have people sitting here going back and forth and being like, Evolution was reactionary. Naomi cash-in was only to be a talking point. Good.
That's the point.
I mean, Rhea and Io Sky was a fucking classic.
Banger.
Holy shit, you just made it even bigger by having Naomi cash in on them instead of going after Tiffany Stratton, which is the predictable thing because they're on the same brand. Oh, well, you're not allowed to do that because you're not part of Raw. Dude, Money in the Bank could be cashing on any fucking title on any fucking show. It was beautiful, bro. We had a fucking great weekend of great professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a fucking long ass time since both of these companies have been on at the same time and both delivered. We need this competition. It makes for so much better content. I'm sitting here in such a different mood than I was last week.
For sure.
Because I feel like as a fucking fan, both companies gave me what I wanted. The paying consumer got exactly what he wanted.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Yeah, and just to kind of follow your talking point on the tribalism thing, you know, I genuinely look at it. And if you go and you look at some of the reactions from some of the wrestlers, like obviously, you know, we haven't really dove into it, but the Adam Cole thing that happened, you've seen so many people just Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Kevin Owens, like so many people just it's sending love, right? Sending their appreciation and letting them know, like, oh, hey, man, like we see you, we love you, we support you. Or even with Naomi winning last night, obviously Mercedes Moné, you know, proceed with caution. She posts about it. You know, there's so many things when it comes down to tribalism that I naturally laugh at. I laugh because I think that we're the one, and it's not even thinking, it's knowing. It's knowing that we are the ones that create this, and these people, they are good friends, man. Like, The only ones who are looking at this are us. And the reason why is because you fall victim to the idea, well, TKO is a corporate conglomerate and Tony Khan is a rich billionaire. So those two are going to beef it out, and we're the ones that fall in the middle. And we say, well, hey, look, he did this and he did that, or they did this and they did that, whatever. We create the tribalism, and it's so silly because it doesn't actually exist. It's not real. It's not real. Exactly.
You got people tweeting about Naomi winning. Why? Because they're happy. You got people tweeting about Jade Cargill because they're happy for her. Like,
Yep.
these people are all friends. They all came through. And by the way, WWE took a women in such an unfair position with a 2-week build.
Oh, absolutely, man.
It was unfair. And the women came out with something to prove. And you know, here's the thing for AEW as well. We know AEW does really good matches. That's like a fucking given, bro. It's like
Yeah.
everybody knows when you wake up, there's like sunlight, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then at nighttime it's dark, right? Like these are obvious things. You watch AEW, you know you're gonna get good wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
Cool to see that they put a little bit more emphasis on storytelling throughout these matches.
Yeah, like you said, they had something to prove out there, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's like everybody came through. Dude, like competition breeds good results. Why was the Wednesday Night War so fucking watched?
Because it breeded results.
Oh, it's so greedy. They're fucking greedy. Shut up. Stop being so fucking soft, bro.
Yeah.
Stop being so fucking soft. If you really are that offended, then don't watch wrestling. This shit is not new. We've seen this forever.
It's been since the beginning. Go ahead.
The best part is if you want to ride the wave of AEW or WWE and you want to wave the flag and that's your kind of thing, then shut the fuck up and actually do it. Stop talking about the other company, bro. Because I feel like this is the thing. Like you get on social media, you get on TikTok, you get on Twitter, you get on YouTube. It's becoming so tiresome of everybody having to fucking pick sides. What's the point of picking sides? If you loved AEW All In and you thought it was the better show, then fucking make a video about it and talk about it. Share your opinion. If you want to sit here and criticize everything WWE does, that's cool. But the problem is, people just like to throw out the shit of like you're biased, you're this, you're that. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. It's like not being able to look at the real side of this, and it's just so funny because it's all trolls, right? Like it's the trolling. It's become such a prominent thing, and it's like, dude, I just know for a fact that every single person, every single pro wrestler, whether you're in AEW, WWE, they just look down and they laugh because they are, like we said a moment ago, just naturally happy for each other. Like you said, man, if you got an opinion on All In, go talk about it. If you got an opinion on Evolution, go talk about it. If you got an opinion on Saturday Night's Main Event, go talk about it, man, because you're allowed to have good talking points and you're allowed to have opinions. But the trolling is when it becomes, it's like, man, the trolling, the tribalism, all of these things, it's silly, it's goofy. Just enjoy pro wrestling for what it is. It doesn't matter what you enjoy. Talk about it and enjoy the parts that you did enjoy. That's, really something that Ango and I try to emphasize when we come on here is just enjoying wrestling for wrestling. And I know, contrary to disbelief, I know Ango sometimes will get some backlash and be told that he hates AEW. When if you just listen to any of our conversations ever, instead of picking one thing and trickling down on that one thing, maybe listen to the broader expansion of the conversation and understand that these conversations, they're very in depth. So of course we may say something bad, but 2 minutes later we follow up with something that it kind of retracts, but also follows that same sentiment of, yes, it was bad, but so enjoy pro wrestling for what it is. That is the number one thing. Stop being a fucking troll. You're a dork if you are.
I feel like we've gotten to the point where, like, it's gotten annoying too because I feel like we kind of gotten to a point where like people just love, and it's fine. I don't even care. Honest to God, if you're gonna talk about me and call me like you're gonna label me as biased or whatever, like that's I don't care. Honestly, it doesn't really bother me. But what bothers me is nobody ever seeks the context.
Yes.
When I'm critical of something, I have a very clear list. Like I paint a perfect picture that a fucking 3-year-old can see. This is my issue with it. This is what I want changed. Until it's changed, you're going to hear me criticize it.
Yes.
Now, why is it that in years past, even as much as I love TNA, at years past, I would criticize TNA for things that they've done. And then for some reason, I feel like as a fan, they're listening and they change it. Why is it that when I complain about things that WWE does, I criticize it and then, oh my God, they fix it and I enjoy it? Same thing applies to AEW. At the end of the day, nobody actually gives a shit about that. See, the thing is, you have to just wave one flag over the other.
Exactly.
And honestly, the thing is, here's the truth, right? I have to pay money for an AEW pay-per-view. I have to pay for Peacock and TNA Plus. I put my money where my mouth is. And it's just a lot of people who want to sit here and act like, it's like you got to wave one flag versus the other. And it's like, if you're not on my team, then you're a fucking biased piece of shit. And it's like, the way I look at it, man, is it's not even worth the argument anymore. It's not even worth talking about anymore, because we have gotten to a point where it's like the IWC is ruining
Pro wrestling.
This is true. They are ruining the pro wrestling world. The IWC is ruining the things that people enjoy, and that's fine, because it doesn't ruin it for me, because what's easy for me? I go on Twitter and I see these accounts, I block them.
Yeah, dude, I
don't interact.
I can turn off Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Twitter is very.
I don't engage with this shit.
Yeah, Twitter is very easy to turn off. But at the end of the day, people will be people, and we're having this conversation strictly based off of the people that watch us, and hoping that you guys can make your own conclusions here, and hopefully you guys are amazing in the wrestling space. That's how I look at it.
People in our chat.
I feel so comfortable with our community, man. They're great people.
Yeah. Speaking of community, we got a couple more super chats to read. In Digital Films dropping $13.99 Canadian dollars. He says, with Seth potentially out, what do you think about Karrion Kross stepping in as his replacement? It could create a compelling storyline and finally elevate Kross to a top star status. I don't hate the idea. Definitely Raw is going to be interesting to watch tonight, because there's the gauntlet match.
Yep.
So that is something to pay attention to. I don't think they're going to use this as an opportunity to push Kross, because I think they have something literally right there in front of them with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. There is too much confusion regarding Seth's situation as well. So until we get more details on what's actually going on, because Brian and Dave are speculating like 5 different theories.
Of course.
Until we get some sort of idea as to what they're going to potentially be doing, then I feel like I could talk about it a little bit more. But I think there's still so much with Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn, which is exciting to me. So definitely not throwing it out. Seth's injury at Saturday night's main event, like, that whole situation fucked up a lot, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've been covering it in videos and TikToks, and it sounds like this is a very chaotic situation for WWE in general. So hopefully they figure it out, and hopefully it doesn't screw them too bad. But, when things happen, bro, you gotta... WWE has to very much they have to figure it out, like Adam Cole's situation. Adam Cole removed from All In, and Dustin Rhodes is the new TNT champion. Like, you have to pivot, you got to make the right calls. Some people were pissed at AEW for not giving it to Kyle Fletcher, and it's like, well, hold on, Dustin, you give it to Kyle Fletcher, people are already sad and depressed after Adam Cole comes out and he's crying, right? You give it to Kyle Fletcher, like, that's not a feel good moment. Dustin Rhodes, veteran, who, in Texas wins the TNT championship, let him have that moment. It's a cool little moment. He doesn't need a 6-month run, but he could drop it to Kyle Fletcher, and veteran guy giving it to him. Cool, bro. Like, nothing wrong with it. Seth gets injured. You got to pivot. You got to figure it out and make it work, and we'll see how they do that. But I obviously don't know what they're going to do. We'll figure it out,
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of follow up with you on that super chat, Karrion Kross is great. I understand, where people are coming from here, but I think WWE has already kind of had like a set plan for Karrion Kross, and if that doesn't have to be touched or affected, then don't. You know what I mean? Let the things that are happening with Karrion Kross, let them be natural. Let Karrion Kross live in those moments, because he still has many moments, especially on the main roster, to live through. So obviously, Seth is such it's a horrible thing, and it's such bad news considering. But one thing that we've always known, WWE, and no matter what you think, they've always been able to pivot on the fly. These are things that just naturally happen in pro wrestling. I know some people will argue like, oh, he's 39 years old, he shouldn't be doing these things, whatever. Like, yeah, that's personal feelings, whatever you think. But the truth of the matter here is Seth Rollins is injured. WWE is able to pivot. If you don't have to touch Karrion Kross right now, don't. If you have a long-term plan for him, I'm willing to wait that out. And if you want to do something with somebody else, I am okay and willing to accept that. Because here's the thing. You have to be willing and open to accepting things that may be new, right? And, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, maybe Braun Breaker, things like that. Okay, well, Braun Breaker is kind of, I can imagine he'll have like a more prominent role now. But truth of the matter is like WWE, they can't just jump to Braun Breaker immediately, considering the fact of all the things that have just transpired, right? Now, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be new, whatever is about to take place. But I think overall, don't be afraid of the change. LA Knight is a person that I'd like to see kind of to get a more prominent role.
And this is an opportunity to, you got to pivot. Obviously, it affects Roman Reigns and CM Punk and so many people, but you pivot. And sometimes, man, when you got to pivot, you create good moments. We've seen Triple H perform under pressure. Mm-hmm. Even Tony Khan, sometimes under pressure. Like these guys, sometimes they get dealt a bad hand and they do good stuff. So this is one of those situations where, hey, it sucks. And going back to the super chat, like it sucks. Karrion Kross, I don't know if he should be with another group or anything at this point, but let's see what happens, and we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Shout out to In Digital Films for the super chat. David Primero dropping $4.99. He says, they kept saying Evolution has low ticket sales and lack of build, but at the end of the day, it saved WWE this weekend after a forgetful Saturday night's main event. Well, they were saying that Evolution did have low ticket sales, and it did. That is true.
Yeah.
That is definitely not a thing to argue. I think they definitely had low ticket sales, and it picked up, obviously. So Evolution ended up selling a shit ton of tickets in the last 2 days. Evolution had, from top to bottom, all great booking decisions, all great matches. Mm-hmm. Did it save WWE's weekend? Yeah, I would agree with that. Not because Saturday night's main event was bad or Great American Bash was bad, but you really needed to just come correct, and they did.
Absolutely. People can feel however they want about Saturday night's main event, and ultimately, in some ways, I understand. But regardless of the fact, like, no, dude, Evolution to me was just a good pay-per-view or PLE, whatever. It was a good show, just overall, for the sake of being a good show. I don't think it was due to what happened. No, I think the truth of the matter here is that the women at on the build to Evolution had such a bad portrayal of how Evolution was even going to look that they had something to prove. And I don't think it had anything to do with Saturday night's main event. I don't think it had anything to do with the Great American Bash. I don't think it had anything to do with All In. I think it had everything to do with the build, how they were portrayed, and what that future, like what they wanted to show is what you got, right? And you got something amazing. And you could say like, oh, WWE, they wanted to make sure that they had all these talking points, et cetera, et cetera. You have to understand those women have to go do that to give them that talking point.
Yeah. So
put some respect on them women, their names, man. Put some respect on all of them. Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, so many names. Put some respect on them.
I agree, brother. I agree, honestly. And definitely well said. Definitely well said.
Yeah.
I wanted to read some more super chats. I'm trying to keep up with them. It's kind of hard, but Bobby Means also dropped a super chat for $5, and he says, "I think it's time to have a serious conversation about Seth Rollins and his longevity with his age. I think he only has 2 more years max." Tough. It's tough having those kind of conversations, honestly, because same thing could be said about Adam Cole, right? Like right now, these guys, top stars,
just naturally getting
hurt.
Yeah, man. I here's the thing, and this is what I'm just gonna. My bad to just chime in on you here.
No, you're good, brother.
I just want to let this be known. Who are we to depict, and who are we to decide? What this person should and shouldn't do, right? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, we can want these things and we could say, oh man, like, oh, I wish Seth wouldn't do a backflip off the middle rope. Yeah, I kind of wish he wouldn't either. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, no, that's who Seth is. And, you know, sometimes, and I think this is just natural with life, right? As we grow older, you don't want to accept certain things. And that's okay, right? Because certain things are harder to accept. And Seth's, you know, whatever he wants to do, whatever he decides to do, you know, one of the things just recently that we talked about was Zoe Stark. When Zoe Stark got injured, you know, everybody was like, oh, she needs to stop doing that. At the end of the day, like, who are we to decide and who are we to say you need to stop doing that? No,
Yeah.
they'll make that decision. If you know, this is what continuously happens, you can hope that it stops, but truthfully, at the end of the day, it's not really up to us. So, you know, I appreciate the super chat, and I can imagine Ango does as well, but at the end of the day, no, man. I mean, if Seth feels like he can go for 10 more years, who are we to tell him no? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we can have our beliefs, we can have our feelings, but there's a truth behind that. And the truth is it has nothing to do with us, and our talking points really don't matter when it comes down to things like that.
Yeah. I think it's tough too, talking about somebody's longevity or whatever it may be. Like I really do like Seth Rollins, and it pains me when you see some of these situations. Seth Rollins and Adam Cole specifically. It's just tough, bro. Like it's tough. You see there's so much respect from people in the industry when it comes to these talents, you know?
For sure.
And so when they see somebody go down, it's like, I don't really want to be talking about somebody's longevity. I don't want to be talking about somebody being forced to retire. It sucks. Like anytime we have these situations, Billy, we see it with Paige and Edge and so many people where it's like, okay, they can't wrestle again. And, you know, it's not Seth's fault. It's not Adam Cole's fault. It's not these talents' fault. Like shit happens.
Yeah.
But I wish everybody good health, and unfortunately, it's just this is the risk that they have being in professional wrestling, and it's like,
Yep.
you know, that's kind of the tough part, obviously. So
Yeah, much respect to Bobby too, man. Just have to
yeah,
put that
shout
out
out
there.
to Bobby. Cornell Bryan dropping a $9.99. He says, "Come on, Ango. Elimination Chamber was the best show of the year. Cena turned the aura with the final boss. Kevin Owens' last match, women's match. Don't be a prisoner of the moment like the rest of the IWC." No, honestly, I really did enjoy Elimination Chamber. I enjoyed WrestleMania 41. I enjoyed Night of Champions. Like I've enjoyed a lot of pay-per-views this year. I've enjoyed a lot of NXT pay-per-views this year. Even AEW as well. I really genuinely believe Evolution was just the best booked wrestling show. And not just the best booked wrestling show, but also really good matches to follow along with those moments. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a big moment, pop, that's it. It very much felt like, holy shit, this company has really nailed it from top to bottom. And believe it or not, like WrestleMania 41 and All In were both really, really good shows. But when you have these long ass shows with tons and tons of matches on there, and some of them don't have the biggest build, it's hard for me to feel like those are the best shows of the year. Evolution may have not had the biggest build, but they did something so great that that part doesn't matter. The triple threat between Lyra, Bailey, and Becky is a classic.
Absolutely.
Like I literally thought, dude, that's the best story going into Evolution, and it's the most long-term story going into Evolution. Why isn't this main eventing? And then you get to the main event and you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. You know?
right. You get a 26-minute
genuinely-
Io Sky Rhea Ripley match, and I'm like, okay, that's why it did main event.
Yeah, exactly. So for me personally, bro, it's not being in the moment. It's just, as of right now, that's where my heart lies. Now, we got to be clear on this, too. It's subjective, bro. You guys got to have your own
Absolutely.
opinions on this. It's just the way I feel. You know, Elimination Chamber may have been a better pay-per-view if the John Cena heel turn led to a
Bigger story.
heel run.
Yeah, bigger story.
Like, you know, and listen, maybe my opinion will change, but as of right now, it's hard for me not to get excited. Like, even the little things in the match where Raquel and Roxanne winning is the right call, but also now it's like, okay, Liv Morgan will eventually come back. That's going to be good, you know? And then, of course, Charlotte and Alexa. Like, there's just certain things I feel as if they make it better, and it's going to be better content for WWE. And look at Zelina Vega, right? Like, from SmackDown to Evolution, and then she eliminated Julia, and it's like, okay, well, hold on. I wasn't necessarily feeling Zelina Vega the way she was before. Now what? She's going into a darker side. What the hell's happening there? I don't know. But she eliminated Julia. It's like the little things matter, bro. And that's why I just feel like all these little things have really amounted it to being one of my favorite shows. And you know, it's nothing against WrestleMania or All In, but those longer shows tend to make me not as happy, honestly.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. One thing that you talked about there just a second ago was Alexa and Charlotte, and I know we kind of did like a moment dive just to kind of reiterate on that. I actually have my own like belief on that. And my belief here is that we've talked about like how Alexa gets to the Wyatt Six and stuff like that. And I think Charlotte is the reason why she eventually ends her way to the Wyatt Six. It's the loneliness. It's it's I need you. It's the cult. It's very simple storytelling. And I just wanted to pinpoint that because I've had a lot of comments recently on some of my videos of people asking, well, what about Alexa and the Wyatt Six and things of that nature? Well, I think you have to do Charlotte first with Alexa, and she needs to be this poppy person, and that will ultimately lead to Alexa joining the Wyatt Six. That was just very random. I had to put that out there.
No, but it's like now, bro. Again, we kind of started off the show talking about Charlotte, but like, wow, if you have Alexa be the one that turns on Charlotte, this puts a whole different emphasis on Charlotte in a way we haven't seen before.
For sure.
And she's gotten her to become very likable, and this version of Charlotte Flair is the version I've enjoyed the most. We've always known Charlotte Flair is a great wrestler, but the character's stale. Cool. We don't have to worry about it as much now.
No, that's very, very true, and it's awesome at the end of the day. And just again, following back on everything, you know, whether Elimination Chamber was good, whether Backlash was good, whether WrestleMania was good, no matter what, last night was amazing. Enjoy it for what it is. You know, if somebody has an objective opinion on it, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Objectiveness is objective, like, you know, how Ango, you know, he feels that Evolution in his heart was the show of the weekend. In my mind, I felt it was All In. And again, these things are just objective.
Shout out to Cornell Bryant for the $9.99. Phil dropping in $9.99. He says TK absolutely delivered. Okada becomes the first unified champ, setting up a potential 6 match with Omega. Record is 2-2-1. Darby versus Mox is still on, possibly ending Death Riders in Blood and Guts. Yeah, I mean, as long as John Moxley's not holding the belt, I don't mind. Whatever, I don't care.
Yep.
Yep. Okada, I saw somebody tweet this. Okada and Kenny's match was the worst that they've ever had, but it was also so really good. So that just goes to tell you everything you need to know about those two guys in the ring.
Yep.
Awesome match, obviously. If they're gonna do a 6 match, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, it's the tiebreaker. I understand why they do it for the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only thing I don't know, this was confusing. Kenny and Okada, okay, right decision. I think Okada winning was the right call. I have no problem with that. My only thing is Okada shows up to the media scrum with all 3 belts.
Well, so, okay, it was confirmed, and this was silly, and me and Phil talked about it on the live stream. It was confirmed that the winner of that had the option to hold all 3 championships, which I find to be very, 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 very silly. Very dumb, and it takes away the point of what that match was supposed to be. Now, hopefully,
so is he going to be holding all 3 belts?
There is a chance that he can hold all 3 belts. They haven't necessarily denied or confirmed whether that was like a true thing or not. But I guess we'll see Wednesday or Saturday. Exactly how that's going to look and how that's going to take place. It was under my assumption that the person would just hold the belt. Obviously, I think that was a lot of people's assumption. He would just hold the unified championship, and that would be the championship. But the cool thing here is that it does fall under Continental rules. So every time that belt is defended, it falls under the 20-minute time limit.
Match went over 20 minutes. What are you talking about?
So they said it after the match.
Come on. Okay, I was better off just not knowing that because that's
I don't know. I've done like a deep dive recently.
That's just some of the dumb shit AEW does, but whatever. It's fine. The match was awesome.
The match was good. Did the match go over 20 minutes?
Yeah, it went like 32 or 28 or some shit like that.
Did it? Oh, maybe you're right.
It was a great match. It was
awesome.
You know, they've had 5 matches, and that was the worst one of them 5, but it's okay because it was still a really good match.
Yeah.
So it's just funny because I do agree with that. Like They've had so many great matches at this point. They're just wrestling soulmates, dude.
They
It's
really
like
are.
Rhea and Io. If WWE wants to do a 1 hour women's Iron Woman match, Rhea and Io should be the ones to do it and
Right.
let them just go off, because there's just wrestlers who just have chemistry with each other that are just incredible.
Yeah,
And
wrestling
Okada and
soulmates, man.
Kenny's-
Wrestling soulmates. They're a true thing, you know.
Yeah.
We talk about Punk and Cena. They were, very long term, just always, anytime they interacted with one another. Some people just work hand in hand,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's polar opposites of people. How do you like that?
No, it happens, yeah.
So that's always awesome.
Shout out to Phil for the $9.99. DRecTube dropping $2. He says Drew is the pivot. So that's in regards to the whole situation with Seth Rollins and his whole situation. Drew is back. He's tag teaming with Logan Paul against Jelly Roll and Randy Orton at SummerSlam. The wrestling fans in the IWC are mad about this. I'm not. Because one of my favorite parts of All In was watching Big Justice hit a spear.
Dude, you took the words out of my mouth.
So you guys never hear me complain about celebrities in wrestling. If they like wrestling and they're passionate about it,
Go do your
I'm
thing.
all for it. Jelly Roll lost a lot of weight. Jelly Roll's been putting in work at the WWE Performance Center. You want to tag team him up with Randy Orton against Logan Paul and all this shit? Cool. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll should beat Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, and then Randy Orton should deliver a KO to Jelly Roll and get that big moment out of the way too. And yeah, man, you're not going to hear me complain about it. As far as Drew McIntyre goes, I love Drew McIntyre. He's awesome. He'll eventually become world champion again. So I'm not mad about anything.
Again, all the noise is just noise.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Everybody
Shout
will
out to-
scream up and down. My bad. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Everybody will scream up and down, like, oh man, we hate this person. I can't believe Drew's involved in this, and da da da. At the end of the day, Drew's gonna be fine. I'm here to tell you guys, Drew's gonna be a world champion, and he's gonna do things, and he's gonna win championships, and so is Randy Orton, and like everything's fine. I promise you, it's SummerSlam. They're just looking to sell it. That's it.
Yeah. And it's going to do great things.
It will. It will.
The crowd went crazy for Big Justice getting pushed by Trent Barretto, right?
Man, they went ballistic for his spear.
Yeah, and then he did the spear, and the cool thing is when celebrities actually love wrestling, the crowd will love them for it, and you guys will see with Jelly Roll as well. So I'm not even tripping about that, and I'm not going to be one of those dudes complaining about some shit just for the sake of complaining about it.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. Shout out to DRecTube. Toledo Channel dropping 200 Indian rupees. He says, do you think Seth stays injured, Braun becoming number one contender at some point during the match? Seth returns from injury with Money in the Bank, and Braun is forced to help him. So what I actually think could happen, and it's, again, we don't really know the situation with Seth and how long he's out. But if Seth has the Money in the Bank and he's out, I would keep it very tight-lipped. I would literally have Braun Breaker. Like, I don't know if I would have Seth turn on Braun, because I feel like Braun could be a massive heel, but also he has potential as a massive babyface.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of nobody knowing when the fuck Seth Rollins comes back, and whoever's world champion, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, whoever it is, Seth just randomly pops up with the heist of the century. Nobody sees it coming. Call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree in some sense. I think, we hope that this isn't a year-long injury, right? That's what we can hope for, Obviously, Triple H went on the media scrum yesterday saying, like, things aren't doing good, like, it doesn't look good. But we can only hope that it's not a year-long injury, and if it's not a year-long injury, I say keep the briefcase on him. I'll be honest with you. Put Braun Breaker in a World Heavyweight Championship match and have Seth cash in during that match. And then you create real tension between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, and then you can continue the story from there. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah. Dude, that's exciting to me. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what that leads to. All right, guys. Yeah, we've reached over an hour. Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. If anybody has some last minute super chats, let's get those in before we end the show. Let me ask you, Billy.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a good talking point.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your all-star of the weekend? Like, who is the person that you feel won the weekend and why? The individual.
Yes.
Not a specific match, not a specific moment in the match, but just a specific individual that just really shined this weekend that kind of changes everything.
So for me, if I had to pick a winner of this weekend, and again, this is all it's subjective, so take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, mine is neither right nor wrong. But I think if I'm gonna give it from a subjective bias standpoint, it has to be Hangman, for me, because I think I was so like in. I didn't stream AEW, but I was very much involved in the things that were going on. I was keeping up with it, Obviously, we had numerous conversations about it, and et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, like when you think of that story and the character arc and all those things, I think Hangman's story it's outstanding. It's fun. It's exciting. He gets that moment at the end of awesome pay-per-view in front of 25,000 people, however many, and he gets to share that moment with the locker room. He gets to share that moment with Swerve. He gets to share that moment with Will. He gets to share the moment even with Moxley in some rights, right? Because you best believe that all these guys are just naturally happy for one another, and you've seen the tears rush down his eyes and how excited he was. The emotion was there. And for me, I love moments like that, and I've always been a fan of moments like that. I never won't be fans of moments like that, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, it doesn't matter. A moment like that is awesome. They're fun. They're exciting. They are what make wrestling great, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, that's what we got to see this weekend. So I think my winner of this weekend definitely has to go to Hangman, and to all the losers that are out there like, oh well, CM Punk's got to be crying somewhere, all those geeks out there, dude, just enjoy pro wrestling for what it is, and that was awesome.
So the Hangman Page pick it's an interesting one because this is a toss up, right? It's a very hard thing to pick just one person. So I want to be very clear. It's very difficult. I don't disagree with Hangman Page.
Mm-hmm.
I won't disagree with anybody who says Charlotte. I won't disagree with anybody who says Naomi, obviously, because they all delivered big moments.
There's numerous names.
I did say we were going to talk about something. We didn't get to it. My man, Ethan Page.
Yes.
Ethan Page, you are the all-star of the weekend, and I'm going to explain why. Okay? Great American Bash had a very difficult task going up head-to-head with All In. Ethan Page and Ricky was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And when you have something like that, you cannot forget the amount of pressure to go out there and deliver a talking point on a show that it's not going to win against AEW All In. And Ricky Starks and Ethan Page were incredible, but Ethan Page, to me, I thought he was probably going to lose, and then Ricky holds it down in NXT for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Ethan Page's moment to be like, all right, let's go up to the main roster, join Braun, Seth, and Bronson. So listen, I'm picking Ethan Page. Shout out to him. That was his coming out moment. For all the naysayers and all the people that are negative towards Ethan Page and Ricky Starks, dude, that's just where it's at, man.
Yeah. I mean, they put on an awesome match, and I think it should be discussed because obviously it was taking place at the time of All In, so some people missed it. Dude, Ricky and Ethan Page, I think they knew exactly what time things were happening, and I think they had something to prove in their own right. You know what I mean?
And they did. They
They did.
And again, it's the common thing. We said it earlier, so for those who have not paid attention, just both companies really delivered good stuff from top to bottom throughout the entire weekend, which is, I don't know how anybody could be mad about that. You know what I mean? I really feel like even Great American Bash not being a big talking point today, like you got to just look at what they did with Ethan and Ricky and be like, okay, that's why they were there. Like that's why they're in WWE, and congrats to them. And they're, and then the thing is, like, shout out to both companies. They really delivered what they needed to, and that was the most important thing. And it's a very difficult task. as fans to be intrigued by so much because, of the way things are, but it just worked out in everybody's favor. And again, I'm not going to disagree with you because you picked Hangman. I think even Charlotte is somebody who could,
Yeah.
she really shined, and Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. I mean, there's so many MVPs that you can pick, but I just feel like nobody's really giving love to the two guys who really held it down, and a lot of that stems from Ethan Page. So shout out to Ethan Page for sure. Couple shout outs, and then we will call it a stream. Let's see. The chat is going really fast, by the way, so shout out to you guys for being so engaged today. Really quick, Billy, while I'm looking at this, do you have any super chats on your channel that you have yet to read?
No, sir. No, sir. We are good on my end.
Okay. Miles Juber Roberson, member for 26 months. Shout out to Miles. He says, what is up, y'all? Evolution was so badass. Yeah, I feel like everybody has kind of said that. Definitely true.
Yeah, very true.
And Miles actually came through with 5 gifted memberships. Shout out to Miles. Because of this, Trevon Womakis, Samuel Muscle, Lockdown 665, and Horror Savant Jamie have all been gifted memberships by Miles. So shout out to Miles. Miles also follows through with a $5 super chat and says, I felt all booking moves on Bash was awesome and correct. How y'all feeling about Blake Monroe betraying Jordan? Too soon or perfect timing? Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Does it? I made a video on this. It's like, to me, the way I looked at it was it didn't need to be some melodramatic thing.
Nope.
It was very clear and concise. She handed the belt. People think she's joining not Toxic Attraction, Fatal Influence.
When that's no, she's gonna be on her own.
She's on her own. She was handing the belt because she knew why she was doing this. She didn't do it for her. She did it for herself.
Correct.
And Blake Monroe naturally better as a heel anyways.
Yep.
She shouldn't have been a babyface for a long time. Obviously, you're going to get the babyface moment when you arrive and you debut. But as far as that goes, I thought that was really, really good. And shout out to Jordan Grace, too, for having such a great match with JC Jane.
Man.
And then, it's hard. You got to follow a triple threat match that is a classic, and you got to go out there and have a great match. And her and JC Jane did a really good job. And then the finish just makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes,
Jordan's
sir.
not going to win. She wasn't being rushed immediately to become world champion in NXT. This also protects JC Jane from the criticism that she's just being given the belt for no reason. That's obviously not the case. So we're in a situation where it worked out for everybody. JC wins. She looks good. Jordan loses, but still looks good. And then Blake Monroe, the heel turn makes her look good. Somebody who's not on the card for an all-women's pay-per-view had her own moment, and that's WWE showing love to their newest free agent signing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Miles for the super chat. Miles dropped another $5 super chat. Pure shock with Naomi with a move that Naomi pulled. I would have never in a million years guessed that Naomi was going after.
That's the exciting part about it. None of us saw it coming.
I feel like Triple H has been in his bag with Money in the Bank cash-ins ever since the failure with Austin Theory, which we both knew he was kind of screwed from Vince with that. But when Naomi goes out there and has this fucking awesome match with Jade, you just think, okay, probably at SummerSlam Jade will become champion because she's Queen of the Ring, you know, and then Naomi cashes in on her. Like that's what my belief has been this entire time. So what was actually really dope was when Naomi goes after them, I was like, okay, this is a nice little swerve. I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it. And that's the way to end the night. You ended the night with the Money in the Bank cash in. Shout out to Triple H for not making me wait fucking forever for it.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah. Agreed.
I love it, man.
Me too.
Shout out to Miles for the love. All right, guys. I think that's the perfect way to end the show. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. We're going to talk about Raw and everything else that's happening in professional wrestling. As always, we do appreciate you guys for coming through, showing love, dropping super chats. If you guys aren't following Billy, make sure you guys check him out at Billy TKO. He will also be doing a watch along tonight, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So make sure you guys check that out. Perfect. Shout out to y'all. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.